Christmas tree cleaning Windsor File Coast once again. New Year's Eve is upon us once again. It's been a crazy one, I think, to be fair. A number of positives to take out of it, for obvious reasons. A number of negatives. I think some people have not known whether they're coming or going, myself included at times. So yeah, well, what can you do? You just got to make the best of it, haven't you? And just sort of, you know, try level down this, crack on, and you know, not let it sort of bring you down. But we're at that point in the year where a lot of people are thinking of sort of New Year's resolutions. Me personally, I don't subscribe to the idea of New Year's resolutions. I'm all about sort of being positive and all this sort of good stuff. But I think you've got to ground yourself in reality and make a plan by all means. But what I would say is obviously, you know, if things have gone well for you this year, cool. Take that, put it in the bank, job done. You know, be pleased that you've had a good year. If you've had an absolute cluster, then try not to let it bring you down. Don't let this past year sort of define your you know, the year that's coming up, sort of thing. You can't change what's happened in the past, but you can make changes to how you do things in the future. I've had a number of sort of discussions and over the past year, you know, people at various stages of the business and various conditions of the business. People are doing well, people are doing, you know, badly, people that are struggling, and people that are just sort of, you know, wanting to sort of celebrate their success. You know, I'm all for it. But I think you've got to sort of be fluid, to be honest with you. And if you've had like I say, if you had a cracking year, then great. Don't sort of take it for granted, you know. And if you've had an absolute shocking year, then you've got to look at and see what you can do within your sphere of control to sort of change it. You hear a number of people coming up with things like New Year's resolutions. Oh, I'm gonna lose 3 or 4 stone and all this sort of stuff. And you think to yourself, well, that's cool. But you know, New Year's resolution is you know, is good to have if you're going to stick to it. You know, the idea, we've seen it all, haven't we, where people have sort of gone, well, I'm going to lose X amount of, you know, stone in weight, but then they're not going to give up things that are holding them back from achieving that goal. And I think when it comes to running your own business, you'll soon see that procrastination is, you know, saying you're going to do one thing and then doing another is just not going to help you. So I think for me personally, this next year coming up, I'm going to concentrate a bit more on sort of building a strong sort of foundation for the business. Yes, I've been trading for 6 years, but I need to now look at the next stage. Excuse me. I need to look at the next stage, which for us is obviously franchising. Unfortunately, the young lad we had lined up to sort of franchise, it didn't work out. Let's just say that. Legal documents weren't signed and sent back, etc. So we're looking at sort of rejigging that and going again in the new year. Again, nobody's interested in franchising, etc. at this time of the year, with all the expense of Christmas and New Year and all this sort of good stuff. You've just got to be patient, and that's all I'm going to be, is just be patient. I'm going to build a solid foundation and, you know, go baby steps, bit by bit, and basically just do what I did when I very first started the business. I started with a bucket. We've grown organically, slowly but surely, take on more work, etc. You know, bring in someone to help, and then sort of grow outwards. I think if you can equate to sort of building your business, you know, I'd rather build it wide, you know, small and wide than sort of tall and very narrow. We've all seen what happens in games of Jenga. You know, knocking out, you know, it's very, joking aside, it's a very sort of powerful sort of visualization, I find, is that if you build a business that's sort of wide and, you know, scalable and you know it's a lot harder to sort of destabilize. We've seen, I've seen a number of people this year particularly have built their businesses fast, rapid, very narrow, and the slightest destabilization brings the whole lot crashing down. And what that amounts to is basically a lack of patience. Rome was not built in a day, and I can hear people sort of rolling their eyes in their head already. It's a bit cliche, I get it. But you're not going to build a business that's going to last in a meteoric, you know, with every single meteoric rise, there's always a cataclysmic, you know, catastrophic downturn. Build slow, build steady, you know, be shrewd, you know, make sort of patient decisions. Don't make a decision on a whim and think, yeah, sorry, I can cuff that. No. The devil is in the detail. And if you build a business that is, you know, sort of there's got a nice wide base, you can then slowly start building upwards. You know what I mean? Whereas if you just have a meteoric doof through the roof, what goes up must come down, you know? So, yeah. Anyway, on the bright side, I hope everybody has a happy, prosperous sort of new year. Those of you guys that have sort of started your businesses, you know, all power to you, the best of luck. For those guys that are sort of yet to sort of pull the trigger, and are a bit nervous and are teetering on the edge, use this time between now and, you know, sort of the end of January to sort of really evaluate what choices you can make in your life to benefit you in the long run. And on that rather positive note, I'm going to sign off for this year, and I'll see you all in 2022. All the very best.